So yes, we're going to be just railroading through a few chapters of Romans today. I think it's going to be great, but before we get to that, there's a piece of social information I feel like I need to give you. I feel obligated to tell you this piece of information, and it is this. Beck Lane, which is the road right up here, you head up 18th Street, and there's Ortman. There's one road that's like 300 south or something, and then the next road after that is Beck Lane, and if you get to, it's Twickenham first, Brady Lane kind of thing, and then there's Beck Lane. If you get to Beck Lane, it's only 25 miles per hour. I just feel I need to let you know that. Beck Lane is only 25 miles an hour. 18th Street might be 30 miles an hour some places, 35 in some places. Twickenham is 30, 35. Poland Hill Road is 30 miles an hour. 9th Street is 30, but Beck Lane is 25. It's very important that I make this clear. You need to understand how important it is. Beck Lane is only 25 miles an hour. I just feel a burden on my soul to communicate to you it's only 25 miles an hour on Beck Lane. Just in case, because there's a reason this is on my soul. There's a reason that I feel incumbent upon myself to tell you these things, and I'll get to that reason in just a couple minutes. But before I do, I have to let you know my philosophy of the MPH, my philosophy on miles per hour, on the speed limit. I know you have a philosophy too. I mean, some of you in this room, I would venture to say maybe 1% of the people that I come into contact with are the maximum number is the maximum number. And if it says maximum speed 25, that's the maximum speed, 25. I don't know if any one of you in this room would be willing to admit what category of human being you fall into when it comes to the speed limit. If you're one of those people who says the speed limit is the highest I ever go and I'm always below that, just don't talk to me. Just keep that silent, keep that to yourself, lie to me, whatever you have to do. But maybe you're one of those people that says, if it says it, I'm going to do it. So would any of you want to admit that, yeah, no? So in this room, we apparently feel like it's not, well, we have one in the back. Most of us in this room apparently feel like it's not a limit, it's a suggestion, okay? It's an option. It's one of the many options you have. Here's our idea of something you could try, do this one. Most of us in this room kind of float a little higher than that. My children, I've had to educate them over the last couple of years that when they see the sign on the side of the road and then they look at my speedometer, I have to educate them that yes, the car is wrong. And actually, I do have a car that is 1% off. I've measured it. I've timed it. So when you're going 65, when the speedometer says 65, you're actually only doing 60. I've figured this one out, so I now know it in my head. And so if I'm doing 43, it's actually 40, something like that. I need to know these things, okay? So my philosophy is I'm one of these people where I realized that the speed limit is not a hard and fast rule, and that bothers me. I want to know what the hard and fast rule is. And this church used to meet in the Long Center a number of years ago, and when we did, there was a lady who came to church here who was a part of our fellowship, and she was a state trooper with the state of Indiana. And I figured this is my opportunity. This is my chance to figure out the real truth of the whole speed limit thing. And so I talked to her, and I'm a dude who's asking questions to a person who has no speed limit. And so I asked questions like, so do you ever get that car over 100 miles an hour? And she goes, oh yeah, every day. And I was like, oh, sweet. So, I was kind of in that mood. But that was also to get me to the real question I wanted to ask. And the real question was, how fast can I go before, not that I've broken the law, but that I've broken the patience of the person in the car, the other person with the flashy lights. How far can I go? How fast can I go? And so she said, well, there's some guys that I know who won't stop you until you hit plus 11. I was like, okay, well, yeah, I just told you that. But don't take that to the bank. Don't say, my pastor said I can go 11 over. You're on Beck Lane and you're doing 36 and you're like, my pastor said I could. Because remember, Beck Lane is 25. Got to get that out there. So I asked her, she said, some guys will not stop you until you pass 11. Other people I know will stop you at 9. I thought, okay, I'm figuring this out. So I said, what do you think I should do? And she goes, well, to be safe, I would never go past 7, plus 7. And I was like, that's it. Now I have my personal philosophy of miles per hour. It's sign plus 7. That's what it is all the time for me. It's sign plus 7. That's my limit. So recently we went down to Florida. We took a road trip down to Florida. It's about a 16-hour drive. And we just recently got a new car too. We got blessed with the opportunity to get a new car. And this car has digital cruise control, which means I can set the cruise control by the numbers on the screen. And even so, there's a button on the side where you can push this button and it will go up and down by ones. So I don't even have to hit the gas at all. If I want to go faster, I just go tap, tap, tap. And if I tap it 3 times, it goes 3 up. So if I'm doing 65, then I tap it 3 times and it takes me up to 68. And it just does that all automatically. So I can perfectly match the speed of the car in front of me. I can perfectly gauge my sign plus 7. And that's really what I was doing. And I know some of you, you're like, the sign doesn't matter. It's all about, maintaining flow of traffic is the phrase. As long as you're not the first one in the line or the last one in the line, flow of traffic. You've got that logic. He can't stop all of us, right? You've thought that. Don't get me wrong. You've thought that. But here's the thing. If flow of traffic is the way, then lemmings are right. All lemmings going over, the old mom's old adage where she says, if all your friends jump off the bridge, well, yeah, I'm just going with the flow of traffic. Okay, so I'm not about flow of traffic. I'm sign plus 7. Okay, you got to know that. You got to understand that. So if I'm on the road behind you, sign plus 7. That's why I'm where I am, okay? Anyway, so we're going down there, and I'm doing the sign plus 7 thing, and I realize that about every 5 miles, the sign changes. We're going through Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida. We're going through these different states, and every state has their own requirements. Every state has their own quantity of police officers on the road. There's construction. Sometimes the sign is 40, sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 60, sometimes it's 70, though rarely. Why? I don't understand. But so sometimes it's as much as 70, but it's always changing. Finally, we go for about an hour, and I realize at the end of that hour, have you ever had that experience where you're like driving, and then you get home and you realize, I don't know how I got here? I just was sort of on autopilot. We're driving for about an hour, and I realize I haven't been paying attention to the road at all or any of the cars around me because I've been watching the signs. Because I'm trying to figure out, I'm on my way to Florida. I've got my family in the car. I don't want to be stopped by any police officers. I don't want that embarrassment on my family record. And so I look at the signs, and I realize I've just been paying attention to signs the whole time because all I want is I just want to do the right thing. And sign plus 7 is my right thing. So I thought this, and I came up with this idea. I even mentioned it to my wife, Jen, and I said, what they need to take the GPS and beam the speed limit data right to the GPS so I don't have to bother with the sign. So I'm just driving on the road, and the GPS should say, bing, speed limit is now 65. Or something along those lines. And I'd be like, okay, tap, 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 and I'm done, okay? That's it. That's all I want. I just want to know. Because if I knew, it would be easier to do it. If only I just always knew the speed limit whenever it happened, whenever it changed, then I would never, because remember, Beck Lane is 25. If only I knew this, so then I thought this would be better. What if it was wired directly into my digital cruise control? I can program it to be speed limit plus 7, and then just let it go. And then when the speed limit goes down to 45, my car is going to go down to 52 automatically, and the guy behind me would be really upset, but I don't care because I'm on my philosophy. I'm doing my thing. So I thought that would be awesome. If that happened, I could go the right speed all the time. If only I could go the right speed all the time, I wouldn't have to worry about what happened last Tuesday, July 3rd. 9 in the morning. I was taking my new puppy to the groomer, who happens to be on Old 231, Paw Prince Hospital. First time taking the dog there, and I'm leaving the parking lot of the hospital with my dog. He's already gone. He's at the groomer. I'm by myself. I'm leaving the parking lot, and I have a choice. I turn right on 231 to go to Beck Lane and take that back to 18 to come home, or I turn left to take Twickenham, go over the bridge, and then get to 18 and go home. And I'm thinking there's no difference, but don't believe it. There is a difference. Beck Lane is 25. So I turn right, I get over to Beck Lane, I start heading down the road, and I'm just figuring this must be 35 like most of the other roads. So I'm just buzzing along. All of a sudden, I see this police car on the side of the road right next to where it's burned into my brain, next to the propane thing in the park, and the water slides, and there's a cop. And so I see him there, and I look down immediately to my speedometer. My speedometer says 42. I'm cool. 35 plus 7 is 42. I'm cool. So I'm driving along, and I know that I don't have to worry about anything because I got my sign plus 7. So I'm just going. I don't even do that. I see the cop, I hit the brakes. I don't even try that method. I'm just going because I'm safe. So anyway, I pass him, and I see him in my rearview mirror because I always watch the police officers in my rearview mirror to see if they turn. And he turns, he does that thing, and my adrenaline goes whoosh. And I'm like, criminy, now what? 9th Street, turn right on 9th Street. So I get to 9th Street, it's a red light, I make sure I stop, come to a complete stop, and then I turn right. Because I figure I can outrun him if I turn right there. So I turn right, I'm heading down the road, and I'm still feeling like I'm fine, but he closes 300 yards in the span of like 5 seconds. And just bang, he's right there. He's turning the corner. He turns his lights on. I'm like, no! So I pull off to the side of the road. Hand him my driver's license, and I look up at him with sort of the sheepish eyes. And he says, I got you doing 39 in a 25. And see, I knew I was doing 39 because that car is the one that has the 1% difference. So 42 minus my difference is 39. I knew I was doing 39. I had that. His radar is right on the money. I know he's right. He got me doing 39. It's 25? I thought it was 35. And he goes, it's 25 back there. I said, so is Twickenham 35? And he goes, I don't know. You're the one who's supposed to know this thing. If only I could know the right speed all the time, then I could do the right speed all the time. If only I could do the right speed all the time, then I wouldn't be sitting in this mess right now. And you don't even know the right speed. And now I'm listening. And so I asked, and I don't know if he felt a little bit embarrassed by that question or not, but he goes back to his car, and when he comes back, he hands me my driver's license back. He says, I'm just out here giving people warnings for the holiday. You have a good holiday, all right? I was like, yes! God's grace is sufficient for me. But if only I could do the right thing all the time, I wouldn't have to worry about it. If only I could drive the right speed all the time. And it's not just speeding, it's everything. It's saying the words that come out of my mouth. I know you've done this before. The words come out and then you think, oh, if only I could say the right thing at the right time, then I wouldn't have to worry about all these repercussions. Or maybe you signed that document and then a month later you realize the payment is due. And if only I made the right decision when I made that right decision.